Hi, my name is Aya. You're watching Aya Reads, and it's finally spring, which means it was the perfect opportunity to look through my shelves and see which books I didn't need anymore. So I have about 70 books to show you, books I'm getting rid of. I decided to split this in different categories. So I have a young adult series, so either duologies, trilogies, or series that are longer than that. I have young adult books where I only have the first book. I think I'll split that section into contemporary and other genres. And then I have an adult section, which I think I'll also split that section up into romances and other categories. And I have a whole author where I'm unhauling all of their books, which I'll get to later. So let's get started with the series. The first one, and with every one of them, I'll talk about like briefly why I'm getting rid of it. Although for most of them, it is either I'm not interested anymore, so I've never read it and I'm not interested in it anymore, or I did read it and I don't want to, like, for whatever reason, it doesn't need to be on my shelf. The most likely reason is that I will not be rereading them, so then I just want space for other books. As always with Unhaul videos, as much as I wish I could give all these books for free to my subscribers, that is just impossible since it's just too much effort and too expensive, most of all, because shipping costs so much money. So yeah, for all of them, you can convince me to keep them, except for the books that are from a particular author. But some of my co-workers already wanted, so I'm gonna give it to them. So anyway, let's get started with the series. The first one is the 3 books I have in the Witchland series by Susan Dennard. So Truth Witch, Wind Witch, and Sight Witch. So I read these 2 and I did enjoy them when they first came out. So I believe I read them when they first came out, and then just time and the fact that I believe it took a while for these books to come out. In fact, I think she's still writing them. Let me see. Yeah, so I read it in 2016, around the time it came out. Yeah, so it came out in January of 2016. I read it in January of 2016. So I was excited about this series, but I gave both of them 4 stars. And then, yeah, I think it took about 2 years for her to write the 4th book, and then even longer to write the 5th book. And at that point, I just didn't care. In between that, I had a giant reading slump, and eventually even though I still do enjoy reading young adult fantasies, the majority of my reading now consists of adult romances. So for me to really stick by a young adult series, it had to get 5 stars for me. So even though it did spend a lot of time on my shelves, a part of me thought I was gonna read them anyway. But right now, I just have to come to terms with the fact that I'm never gonna reread these 3, or I'm never gonna continue on with this series. So let's just get rid of them. Then there's a trilogy that I have not read yet, and it's the Incarnate, the New Soul trilogy by Jodi Meadows. So Incarnate, Asunder, and Infinite. I think I bought these because for some reason I really love these covers, but nothing in me really had any intention. Like, I don't know, they have been on my shelves for such a long time, and I haven't really thought about picking them up ever. Also, so I have some older series on my shelves that I think would be good for YouTube reasons. Like, I think, for example, the Selection trilogy, like, that is not really a series that I really am that interested with anymore, but I think it would be fun to film it since a lot of people have read it. I don't think this is a very wildly read series, so in that case, let's just get rid of it because I'm not really interested in it anymore, and I don't think it's, like, for content, a good series to film. Same goes for the 1,000 Pieces of You series. I have to look up all these series. I don't know if that's what it's called. Pieces. No, it's the Firebird trilogy. So 1,000 Pieces of You, 1,000 Skies Above You, and 1,000,000 Worlds with You. Once again, I bought these years ago. I'm sure I would have liked it years ago, but now it's not really something I would enjoy. And this is not that popular. It doesn't really stand the test of time. So in that case, I also don't really want to read it now. since I don't think a lot of you would be interested in watching me read it. And also the Snow Like Ashes series. So this is different than the rest because I did read Snow Like Ashes years ago, and I did enjoy it. In fact, I haven't had a lot of arcs, but for some reason I had the Frost Like Night arc because I had a friend who was also a booktuber actually, and she worked at a bookstore, and she knew that I read and liked Snow Like Ashes, so she gave me the arc for the third one, but I never really continued on with this series. So the first one is Snow Like Ashes, the second book is Ice Like Fire, and the third book is Frost Like Night. Once again, not really a popular series on booktube. I read the first one, like I said, I did enjoy it, and the plan was always to continue on, but I never really did, so I think that says enough. Then I have Through the Nevernight and Into the Still Blue. This is part of a video I'm filming actually, where I'm gonna be doing, let's just tell you, I'm gonna be filming, like a lot of people here on BookTube, the Read It and Unhaul challenge. And this is a teaser. I'm not gonna tell you for every book here because there are other books in here that are part of that video. This came up in that video and I'm deciding to unhaul them. I don't know if I own Under the Never Sky. If I do, I'm also getting rid of that, but this is part of the Under the Never Sky series by Veronica Rossi. I read Under the Never Sky, I gave it 4 stars, but I was never really compelled to continue on. If I were to continue on, I'd have to reread Under the Never Sky, and I don't really want to do that, so I'm not gonna. Then there is the Half Bad and Half Wild series by Sally Green. Once again, I bought it when it was pretty hyped, but I never really hear anybody talk about it. I'm not really that interested anymore, so I'm getting rid of them. Eon and Iona by Alison Goodman. Also used to be very, very popular years and years and years ago, but since then I haven't really heard a lot of people talking about it, and lately I have been, I don't know, I want to be more mindful of picking up own voices, and this obviously is not own voices, so in that case, both since I'm not that interested in it and it's also not written by and it's not an own voices book, I am getting rid of them. Plus these don't match, and that has annoyed me from the very beginning. So yeah. The Pirate's Wish and the Assassin's Curse by Cassandra Rose Clark. As much as I really like these, and they are far more beautiful than the new cover, which I'll leave linked here, which I'll put a picture up here. I read these for video where I watched an old haul of mine and I had to read the books that I hadn't read yet. I enjoyed them. I gave them both 4 stars, but I'm never going to reread these, and they're just sitting on my shelves collecting dust. So in that case, I'm just getting rid of them. Fire and Flood and Salt and Stone. Out of all of these books, these might be ones I'm tempted to keep because they are described as a mix between The Hunger Games and Pokemon, which I like both those things. But I'm gonna keep repeating myself, but this is not really a series that has stood the test of time. I barely think about this series. It has just been collecting dust on my shelf, so in that case, I'd rather leave space for newer books. And for the last of the series where I have more than one book is the Burn for Burn and Fire with Fire series, I guess. I believe there's one more, but I don't own that one. I bought every Jenny Han book after I read The Summer I Turned Pretty, and this is technically the only series of hers that I have not read yet, but I don't know, like this just feels like it is kind of dated. It feels like a little bit like Pretty Little Liars-esque, and it's also young adult contemporary, which I rarely read nowadays, so I'm getting rid of them. Speaking of young adult contemporaries, I'm going to show you a couple that they only have, it's like standalones, or I only own the first book. Let me start with the ones I have read. The Lines We Cross by Rhonda Abdel Fattah. This one I read, I did enjoy, but I honestly think I'm never going to reread it. And I think it's better served, especially in the climate we live in nowadays. Not much has changed, unfortunately, even though this was written in 2017, or at least it came out in 2017. It's about 2 people, 2 young adults. One of them is Muslim and the other one hates Muslims, or at least his family hates Muslims, and it's about them eventually falling in love, but at first really getting to know each other deeper than surface level. Like I said, unfortunately it's still a very prevalent topic. I think it's better served for a young person to read this than keeping it on my shelves where where I know I will not reread it. The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertelli. This one I remember really, really loving when it first came out. I felt very seen in this book, but I haven't really found myself thinking about it in the last couple of years. So once again, I just feel like me giving it away to somebody else will serve them better. And the last one I have read is The Duff. Once again, I did enjoy it when I first read it. I definitely felt seen with this book, but I haven't read it. Like, the plan was to reread it. I never really did. Let me see when I actually read it. Yeah, in 2012. So it has been like 12 years since I read it. I think it's time to let it go now. Now for the young adult books that I haven't read yet. The first one, or I haven't read, will never read, Where Things Come Back by John Corey Whaley. I don't really know what this book is about. I've owned it for years, and nothing in me has compelled me to read it. Also, it's about missionaries, which I don't really like to read about, so we're getting rid of it. Second Chance Summer by Morgan Matson. I think I would have loved this had I read it years ago when I first bought it. Since I haven't, I don't know, I just prefer adult contemporary nowadays to young adult contemporary, so I just need to accept that fact. Tweet Cute was a contender. This was the more recent published one. I know a lot of people who normally read adult romances, definitely enjoyed this one, but I just am not that interested in it anymore. Before I Die by Jenny Downham. Once again, I think had I read it when I first bought it, I would have loved it, but I didn't. Same goes for Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver. Love Letters to the Dead by Ava Delira. And last but most certainly not least is Shine by Lauren Miracle. Once again, I think this is better served for a teenager reading it, because this is about a guy who was almost beaten to death because he's gay. So like I said, I think it's very important. I just haven't read it, even though I've owned it for years. So I think it's in better hands. not in better hands, but I just think since it's been on my shelves for such a long time and I haven't read it yet, I think it's better if I just give it away to a young adult who will enjoy it and hopefully take something out of it. Now for the other categories in the young adult section. So most of them are fantasies. Most of them I haven't read, actually. So I know what you're probably thinking, why did this girl buy all these books and never read them? I do have to say, I have changed the way I buy books since in the last couple of years. Most of the books now I either buy right away and read them. Like, I either buy because I'm planning on reading them in the next month, or I tend to read books on ebook first, and then if I love them, I'll buy the physical copy. Of course, I still sometimes buy books that I don't really have any set plans of reading, but that is definitely way less than what it used to be. So that's why a lot of these books I have not read yet. So the first one is Rebel of the Sands by Elwyn Hamilton. Once again, kind of similar to Eon and Iona. This is about the Middle East, I guess, but not really written. At least Elwyn Hamilton doesn't sound like a Middle Eastern name. So I don't know. In that case, I don't really care to read this too much. I do really like the cover. The Smoke Thieves by Sally Green. This I believe I got in some sort of subscription box, but I don't really care to read this too much, so I'm getting rid of it. 1,000 Perfect Notes. I believe this I also got in a subscription box. I don't know what this book is about, so I'm getting rid of it. Of Beast and Beauty by Stacey J. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I really haven't heard anybody talk about it in the last couple of years. Die For Me by Amy Plum. Once again, an older book that I really haven't heard a lot of people talk about nowadays. And For Darkness Shows the Stars by Diana Peterfreund. I believe one of my favorite booktubers, I believe Bookish and Nerdy, which I don't think anybody really knows who she is anymore, because she used to make videos like a long time ago, like maybe 12 years ago. I used to really love her. I think she really liked it, but I haven't really heard anybody else talk about it since then, so I'm finally getting rid of it. Leviathan by Scott Westerfield. This is one of the first books I bought, and I haven't really found myself thinking about picking this up, so I'm getting rid of it. It has illustrations, I just realized. What I Saw and How I Lied by Judy Blundell. This was in my Read It or Unhaul It video, and I haven't really gotten rid of the books that I didn't read in that. Or it was like, I have to read these books before they self-destruct video I did like in 2023. I believe I got rid of some of the books that I didn't read, but not all of them. This is one of them. I thought, okay, since it's so short, I can read it, but I didn't. So I'm getting rid of it now. Lore of the Wilds by Annalise Sobrana. This I did read. Even though I really love the cover, I didn't really like this book. So hopefully somebody else will enjoy it. Across the Universe by Beth Revis. This, a lot of people used to really love. And I, for some reason, thought I was going to read it and love it too, but I haven't picked this book up. So I'm getting rid of it. Labyrinth Lost by Zoraida Cordova. This was pretty hyped a couple years ago. I bought it because of the hype and then never really picked it up. So once again, I think I can make somebody else happy who will read it faster than I will. Rebel Belle by Rachel Hawkins. I have read a couple Rachel Hawkins that I really enjoyed, but of this series, only the first one was really hyped and then nobody really liked the other books in the series. But I kept the first one thinking, okay, maybe I'll just read the first one and leave it at that. But I never even picked up the first one, so now I'm getting rid of it. All the Crooked Saints by Maggie Stiefvater. This I bought because I do like Maggie Stiefvater. I really loved the Raven Boys trilogy by her, and I had this plan of reading every Maggie Stiefvater. That never happened. And this is also not really a beloved series by her, so that's why I'm getting rid of it. Gates of Thread and Stone by Laurie M. Lee. This one, I literally have heard nobody talk about it. I honestly don't know how I ended up with this book. Somebody on BookTube must have talked about it back in the day. Let me see when this came out. 2014. So somebody must have talked about it. That's because back then I only heard about books from BookTube. So, but I don't know who that was, who that person was that talked about it. So I'm just getting rid of it. And last for the young adult section is Fateful by Claudia Gray. This, I believe, was also in the These Books Will Self-Destruct video. I really thought I was going to read it because I believe it's a Titanic book and also werewolf. So it sounds like I should like it, but I don't think a lot of people like this book. So there are so many other books that I think I'm just going to skip this one. Moving on to the adult section. The first section is going to be the author getting rid of all his books, and it's Neil Gaiman. So, without really getting into it, I'll leave an article in the description stating what has been alleged. I believe what has been alleged. I don't really feel the need to keep these books on my shelves. Also, I have owned these books for such a long time, and nothing in me has compelled me to pick any of them up. The only one I read was Sleeper and the Spindle, and it was fine. So I don't really feel the need to keep it. And the other books, some of them I tried and couldn't really get into, which were Norse Mythology and the Graveyard Book. I tried reading this and never really got into it. And this one, I think I read like a page or like a chapter, and I didn't really get into it. The Ocean at the End of the Lane I'm getting rid of, and Neverwhere I'm getting rid of. Now for the other adult books. The first one is going to be romances. So funnily enough, with this category, I've read all of them except for one. So I have a better track record with these romances. So the first one is To Sir Philip with Love. The reason I'm getting rid of this is because this I arrived in the mail so damaged. So I actually got my money back. I did end up reading this version, but ever since then I got the Illumicrate special edition one, so I don't feel the need to keep this one. The Rom-Commers by Catherine Center. I got this one for the Goodreads Choice Awards. This I didn't really enjoy, so I'm getting rid of it. The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren also got for the Goodreads Choice Awards. I like this one, but I will never reread it, so that's why I'm getting rid of it. This Summer Will Be Different. Technically, I didn't get for the Goodreads Choice Awards, but I ended up reading it for the Goodreads Choice. Well, technically I didn't. I read it for a video that never came out, but Carly Fortune is just not one of my favorite authors, so that's why I'm getting rid of it. Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. I read this years and years and years ago, and I haven't really felt the need to reread this. The Fiancé Farce. I read this one. I enjoyed it. It was fine. I gave it 3 stars. I will never reread it, so that's why I'm getting rid of it. People We Meet on Vacation. I was debating whether or not I should keep it since I own every other Emily Henry book. But for what? I'm never gonna, like, why do I need to keep them? So let's just get rid of it. I know for sure somebody else will absolutely love this one. So let's make somebody else happy with it. And the only one I didn't read was Me Before You. Once again, I should have just read this when it came out. Now, you know, there's plenty of controversies about this book. I don't feel like I can enjoy it the same way I could have had I read it back then. And I feel like the controversies are valid. So I don't know. I think there are so many other romances out there that do have HEAs. that I don't feel the need to keep this one. And the last category are adult books that are not romances. I think this one is like 50-50 whether or not I read them or at least tried to read them. The first one is The Great Gatsby. I got this mass market movie tie-in edition. I don't know why. First of all, I don't like mass market paperbacks. Second of all, I avoid them unless I have to buy them. So for example, historical romances. If I read historical romance that is my favorite, I will buy the mass market paperback. But in that case, I probably have read the ebook version of it. This one, I think there are so many other Great Gatsby editions that I don't feel the need to keep this one. Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close by Jonathan Safran Foer. This has been on my shelves for such a long time. I never really felt compelled to read it, so I'm just gonna let somebody else enjoy this. The Silver Linings Playbook by Matthew Quick. This one I bought when the movie came out, thinking 100% I was gonna read it, never did, and now it's been years and I still haven't read it. Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. I read this one, I did enjoy it, but I haven't really found myself thinking about this too much, and since it's such a beloved book, and I think somebody else will definitely enjoy this one. The Little Prince, I read this, wasn't really my favorite, so I'm just gonna give it away to somebody else. This, I'm not so sure if it's a adult one or a young adult. Lost Boy by Christina Henry. This one I tried to read. I think I actually have a bookmark from the book depository. Rest in peace. I got to page 108 and didn't enjoy it, so I DNF'd it. And a part of me thought, so Peter Pan is not my favorite story, but I really like Peter Pan retellings, or like the idea of them. So a part of me thought, okay, so maybe I can get back to it. I never did, so let's just cut my losses. Very Good Lies by J.K. Rowling. I just want to keep the Harry Potter books, and I don't really feel the need to keep any other J.K. Rowling on my shelf, so I'm getting rid of this one. Attached, technically I have I have a couple other nonfiction ones. This one, I wanted to learn more about attachment styles, even though I have read, I know about it since I'm a psychologist, but I've only really read about it in terms of children's psychology and like more clinical settings, not really in relationship to actual relationships. But then I saw some reviews where it says they really bash avoided attachment style. So in that case, I want a well-rounded research and not bashing like 1/3 of the people. So I don't know if it's 1/3, but anyway, ever since then, I just decided this is not really for me. Mouse by Art Spiegelman. This one I read years and years and years ago, and I haven't really reread it. Lies and Weddings by Kevin Kwan. I know this is not in the romance category because in my opinion, it's not a romance, even though this was in the Goodreads Choice romance category. I tried to read this, couldn't get into it. I don't think it's a romance. So this is just not my genre, really. So I'm getting rid of it. And last is Blankets by Craig Thompson. This is a graphic novel memoir. I read it. It was fine. It was not my favorite. I am glad I read it since it has been on my shelves for so long. It's pretty heavy and it moved with me through 3 different moves. But it's time for somebody else to enjoy it now. Alrighty, so because of my unhaul, I needed to rearrange my shelves and I found some other books I'm getting rid of. So first I found Under the Never Sky, so I'm getting rid of this one. I don't know why I missed it before. Then I found Landline. Once again, a book that has been on my shelves for such a long time. And I haven't heard anybody talk about this in the last couple of years, so I'm just getting rid of it. And then the other one is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Yeah, the box set. This is not really my genre. I'm not really a sci-fi girly. And even if I am gonna be, and even if this I will one day read, this I got at like a book fair. It was very, very cheap. And I don't like these covers at all. Like they are, I don't know, I guess, no, they are just very ugly. So I'm getting rid of it. And hopefully somebody else is gonna enjoy them. So yeah, now I need to rearrange these shelves. But I am glad I have more space now. So those were all the books I'm getting rid of. If you feel inclined, let me know which one of these you think I should keep. And if not, leave me a book stack emoji. And I really hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely let me know by leaving a like if you did. And thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day and I'll talk to you later. Bye.